Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special class of special introduction session of the group GPass exam class that will be conducted by JVS Academy under the leadership of Mr. Samir Shah. And to speak about the faculty and the leadership of Mr. Samir Shah, Mr. Samir Shah is one of the leading clearing agents in the nation, and he is also a international freight forwarder and multimodal operator. Plus, he is an IATA agent. He is a well-known educator. He has been in the education field for almost 38 years now. And we are actually privileged to have him on board so that he can guide us with his knowledge, tremendous knowledge. And all the participants will be benefited out of this. He also has so many recognitions from World Customs Organization, etc. Plus, there are so many publications that he has undertaken. Plus, he is a member of the advisory board of Gujarat Maritime Cluster and other committees in logistics sector, skill and theatre and air cargo agents association, etc. His knowledge in this field is well known, and we are all looking forward to this session that he is going to conduct. And I hope that all the participants will participate in this with all their full concentration and benefit out of this and get good marks in the exam that has to be conducted. So I welcome Mr. Samir Shah and I hand over the session to him. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bhagwan Singh ji. Good evening to all the participants. We are all meeting today only to help you how to prepare for the G-Card examination. The actual classes are to be conducted by the Pune Custom House Agents Association would start from tomorrow. So today my endeavor is going to be to help you as to how you should start preparing for the exam. Because this is being done specifically for Pune, though we have friends from other locations joining in, I would be speaking a little bit in Marathi here and there so that the participants can feel more comfortable. Right. So first of all, I have to congratulate each of you. You have decided to take this exam. You know, this is actually a very important exam, but somewhere we don't give the type of importance that needs to be given. But we must all remember that this is a very important exam for all of you. So congratulations for having decided to take this exam. Best of luck for the preparations and best of luck for the exam. And I'm sure that with a little bit of effort, all of you will easily pass the exam. It is not a difficult exam. But you must remember that Delhi conducted the examination, Bangalore conducted the examination, and the number of people who passed the exam was less than 10%. म्हणजे 100 लोक जर परीक्षेला बसले तर 10च पास झाले. But that is not because the exam is difficult. It is because you are overconfident कि मेरे को ये तो आता ही है ना, अरे ये तो मैं रोज करता है, इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है, ये तो मेरे को समझ में आ गया. The main reason for such a low passing percentage is because of overconfidence on part of the people who are sitting for the exam. So my request to each of you would be that please do not be overconfident that this is a very easy exam and that I will do it very simply. It will not happen in that manner. Ani, thank you, because you're giving me an opportunity of helping you with something you are going to give the faculty an opportunity to help you with something which makes me and all the faculty very happy. So thank you very much for this opportunity that you are giving us. Now we must understand a little bit of the background. The first part of the background is that in India, 98% of custom clearances happen through custom brokers. India does today, every day, approximately 52,000 clearances. 52,000 clearances daily. And out of that 52,000 clearances that India does daily, 98% are handled by custom brokers like you and me. So we must remember that you are playing a very important role in India's economy and in the safety and the security of the country. You are the most important people. People like me and Bhagwan sir who are sitting in the office are not as important as you who is working in the field. And you should be very proud of the fact that you are working in the field. You are a very important player. So don't take your jobs very lightly. I find that field staff and office staff across India take their jobs very lightly. अरे काय नाही नाही जमलं तर त्याला 10,000 देऊन करून टाकेल. No, it doesn't work like that. Please understand, you are a very important person. Please don't take your job very lightly. And remember, की ही जी अख्खी इंडस्ट्री आहे is based on knowledge. की तुम्हाला येते तुमच्या ऑफिसमध्ये पण तुम्ही बरोबर अनेक्स्टर फाईल केलं, चेकलिस्ट मध्ये चुक्या नसेल, तुम्ही पॉलिसी बरोबर तुम्हाला वाचता आली, टॅरिफ वाचता येणार, कॅल्क्युलेशन समजणार तरच क्लिअरन्स होणार आहे. आणि नाही की हो मी सुपरिंटेंडंटला ओळखतो, मी त्याच्या घरी जाऊन करून देईन. Those days are gone. Those days are completely gone. This is not a profession which is based on हो एसी आणि माझं खूप पटते, आम्ही चहा घेतो एकत्र, अरे त्यांचा माझं खूप चांगलं आहे. It will not help you in the future. The future is on the computer. The future is based on knowledge. So you must remember that this is an industry which is based on knowledge. It is not based की मला हा मनुष्य ओळखतो आणि इन्स्पेक्टर माझा मित्र आहे आणि सुपरिंटेंडंटला मी ओळखतो आणि तो सिपाई पण हो मी सांगेन ते करून देईन. It will not work that way. Right? So be very clear that you are important people. Don't take your job lightly. And remember that this industry is based on knowledge and not on relationship. Now, who are we and what are we doing? The first thing is that custom brokers in India have to be licensed. This is what is written in the Act, right? So, Section 146 of the Customs Act says that there would be a license for custom brokers. So, पहिली गोष्ट, remember Section 146 of the Customs Act. What does Section 146 of the Customs Act says? The Section 146 of the Customs Act says that nobody shall carry on the business of a custom broker unless he has been given a license, and a license under the regulations made under this Act. So Section 46 says that there will be a license for custom brokers, and Section 146 says that there will be regulations. Then comes the question, ki regulations kaun banavnar? Who will make the regulations? So they say that the board will make the regulations. And what will the regulations talk about? The regulations will talk about the qualification, the examination, restriction and condition, suspension and revocation. Revocation is cancellation. These are the important portions of the regulations. The regulations are very large, but these are the important portions. So for you as G card holder, examinees, qualification, what is your qualification needed? What will be the examination? What would be the restriction and the conditions? And what would be suspension or revocation? If any of you feels that G card holders cannot be suspended, cannot be revoked, cannot be fined or penalized, you are making a mistake. G card holders are equally responsible like F card holders. So that is why I said that your job is a very important job, and please don't take your job lightly. So there are three important things in the Custom Broker Licensing Regulations 2018. You must always say it as Custom Broker Licensing Regulations 2018, because there has been 2013, there has been 2004, there has been 1984, and everyone passes exam at a different point of time. So when you are referring to the CBLR, that is Custom Broker Licensing Regulations, you should always use the word 2018. If you write CBLR, you are making a mistake. And for your examination, three very important portions of the CBLR is examination, your employment, and the obligations of a custom broker. Now let us understand what is the obligation. There are 17 obligations. You must take a letter of authority. You can work only through an authorized representative, that is somebody who has a pass. You can have an F card, G card, or an H card. You are supposed to advise your client. You are supposed to do your work with due diligence. You cannot withhold information. You have to promptly pay government duty once you receive it from your client. You cannot procure any information from the government records. You cannot influence any officer of customs. You cannot refuse access to any file or record of yours. You are supposed to maintain up-to-date records. You are supposed to work with utmost speed and efficiency. You are supposed to do KYC. You are supposed to inform in any change of your office details. You are supposed to maintain record for 5 years. And even in an investigation against you, you are supposed to cooperate with the department. So be very clear. There are 17 obligations. You don't need to really remember obligations in a particular sequence, but you should know that there are 17 obligations. And the most important obligation for you would be 10A, that is collecting a letter of authority, and 10N, that is KYC. Now, when you read this, you will understand that why does the departmental officer always ask you for KYC? Because it is in your obligations. What is an obligation? An obligation is something that you have to compulsorily do. If you want to work as a custom broker, you have to do it, right? Then in the regulations, there is another regulation called Regulation 17, which talks about procedure for revoking a license. Revoking means cancelling a license or imposing penalty. Cancelling a license or imposing penalty. Now, what does Regulation 18 say? that a G card holder can be penalized up to 10,000 rupees. But it also says that action can be taken against the G card holder under any other law or under the Customs Act also. So you can be penalized under the CBLR, you can be penalized under the Customs Act, you can be penalized under the Foreign Trade Policy, you can be penalized under any of the PGAs, participating government agencies, where you have made a mistake. So be very clear that the G card holder is a very important player, and the government also expects that the G card holder will take his job very seriously and work in that manner. The next important portion CBLR 2018 चा आहे is employment. Employment G card holder साठी you all have all qualified because each of you is 10+2 and you have an Aadhaar card. So as long as you have an Aadhaar card and you are 10+2, you can sit for the exam. Nowhere does it say that only field staff can sit for the exam. So the field staff, the office staff, anybody who is working in a custom broking agency can sit for the examination, right? And all you need to do is you need to have an Aadhaar card and you need to be 10+2, which all of you already are. Then you will get 4 attempts to pass the examination. But remember one thing, any exam you take, it is easiest to pass it in the first attempt. दुसऱ्या अटेम्प्ट मध्ये त्रास होणार, तिसऱ्यांमध्ये खूप तकलीफ होणार आणि चौथ्याला वाटेल तुम्हाला की कुठे मी फसलो इथे. So unless you take it seriously and you pass it in first attempt, it will become more difficult for you to pass it in the subsequent attempts. Then it will be a written examination. You may or may not have an oral examination, but that is the decision to be taken by ACDC. So it is going to be a written examination. Examination मध्ये ते काय चेक करणार? They will check की तुमच्याकडे Customs Act चे provisions आणि goods आणि baggageचं custom clearance. So knowledge आहे की नाही? Now it is not limited to the Customs Act. Custom clearance is not limited to the Customs Act. So you are expected to know everything for clearance of goods and baggage. Most of you will say ki sir पण आम्ही baggage करतोच कुठे? Even if you are not doing baggage, परीक्षामध्ये ते लोक तुम्हाला विचारू शकतात. कारण syllabus मध्ये baggage आहे, regulations मध्ये baggage आहे. So every aspect of custom clearance of goods and baggage is covered over here. आणि तुम्ही एकदा परीक्षा पास केली तर you have passed the exam for your whole life आणि तुम्हाला एक G card मिळणार. The G card belongs to the person who passed the examination, right? Now India मध्ये custom clearance कसं होते? Let us understand. तुम्ही सगळे काम करतात म्हणजे तुम्हाला वाटते की हो मला येते, कबूल आहे तुम्हाला येते, पण आता आपल्याला परीक्षासाठी बसायचं आहे आणि परीक्षेला बसण्यासाठी काही गोष्टी असतात that we have to be very clear about. We have to be very clear in our mind. So there are regulators. Who is a regulator? A regulator is a person who can tell you that look, this is what you will do. This is how it has to be done. And if you don't do it in this manner, there will be a fine or a penalty that will be imposed on you. India मध्ये there are 4 types of regulators. पहिला आहे customs. We all understand customs. दूसरा regulator आणि you deal with him every day, that is Reserve Bank of India. The third regulator is DGFT or Ministry of Commerce, foreign trade policy. We read the foreign trade policy, importability, EPCG, MEIS, SEIS, all those things that we read about is under the DGFT. And last regulator is the various PGAs. We all know who are the PGAs, and we are all working on those PGAs. So whether you are doing FSSAI clearance, you are doing phytosanitary, you are doing anything with any PGA, so he becomes a regulator and you are expected to know all the work of the PGAs. In other words, PGAs are also known as allied acts. So you are expected to know, and in India, there are about 39 PGAs. Okay, you might be dealing in one or two. The good thing is that you are sitting for an exam in Pune. The exam is to be conducted by Assistant Commissioner Pune. So chances of his asking you any question on commodities or consignments not cleared in Pune are very less. So even though there are 39 PGAs, Pune might be working in 5 or 6 PGAs. So you can be sure that they will ask you questions on at least those 5 or 6 PGAs on which Pune is working, right? Second thing, be very clear in your mind की हे कस्टम आहे काय. मी केव्हाही कोणाला विचारलं की कस्टम्स काय आहे, नेहमी बोलणार सर ड्युटी कलेक्ट करतात, सर एक्झामिनेशन करतात, सर असेसमेंट करतात, ते करतात, दे आर प्रोसेसेस. बट व्हॉट इज कस्टम्स? कस्टम्स मात्र एक बॅरियर आहे, एक पडाव आहे, एक काहीतरी द्वार आहे, त्याला तुम्ही क्रॉस करायचं. सो कस्टम्स इज ओनली अ बॅरियर. आणि तुम्ही ज्या पद्धतीने त्या बॅरियरला क्रॉस करणार त्याला आपण कस्टम क्लिअरन्स म्हणतो. आणि त्याची एक पद्धती असते. आणि जर तुम्ही ती सिस्टम पकडून ठेवली तर तुम्ही नक्की क्रॉस करून घेणार. तुम्ही त्या सिस्टमच्या बाहेर गेले तर तुम्हाला तो बॅरियर क्रॉस करायला त्रास होणार. आपण घरून पण बाहेर निघता तेव्हा घराची किल्ली असते, ती किल्ली टाकली तर सरळ दार उघडणार, पण काहीतरी दुसरी किल्ली टाकली, काहीतरी दुसरं करायला गेला तर ते दार उघडणार नाही. नंतर तुम्हाला काही ना काहीतरी करावं लागेल तो दार उघडायला. सो सिमिलरली इन कस्टम क्लिअरन्स इट्स जस्ट अ बॅरियर, इट्स अ सिम्पल बॅरियर. त्या बॅरियरला क्रॉस करायची एक सिस्टम आहे, ती सिस्टम तुम्ही पकडून ठेवा आणि त्याचप्रमाणे तुम्ही जर केलं तर तुम्ही तो बॅरियर क्रॉस करू शकणार. आणि द प्रोसेस ऑफ क्रॉसिंग दॅट बॅरियर इज कॉल्ड कस्टम क्लिअरन्स, राईट? सो पहिली गोष्ट, एक नवी मॉडर्न कस्टम ऍडमिनिस्ट्रेशन असते, ते काय करतात, त्यांचा 8 फंक्शन्स आहे. टुडे देर आर 8 फंक्शन्स ऑफ अ कस्टम्स इन इंडिया. पहिलं आहे रेव्हेन्यू कलेक्शन, सो दॅट इज ड्युटी. दुसरं आहे एन्फोर्समेंट, म्हणजे जे काही रेग्युलेटर्सची सिस्टम्स आहे ती तुम्ही फॉलो करतात की नाही करतात, आणि तुम्ही व्यवस्थित करायलाच हवं, दॅट इज एन्फोर्समेंट. The third is implementing trade agreements. We are all reading about free trade agreements and CEPA and SAFTA and APTA and all those different types of agreements. So implementing the trade agreement, Carotter, implementing the trade agreements is part of customs. The next thing that you are aware of is serial number 6, which is auditing. You are aware of auditing, post clearance audit, on-site post clearance audit. But there are other functions also of customs with which you may not be aware. One is community protection. तुम्ही तिथे बसून मला ऐकतात, मी इथे शांतपणे बसून बोलतो, त्याच्यामध्ये कस्टम्सचं पण कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन आहे. द नेक्स्ट वन इज ट्रेड पॉलिसी, की इम्पोर्ट एक्सपोर्टची जी पॉलिसी बनणार त्याच्यामध्ये कस्टम्स खूप कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट करतात. इट इज नॉट दॅट द कॉमर्स मिनिस्ट्री DGFT स्वतःच बाहेर पाडते फॉरेन ट्रेड पॉलिसी, तसं नसते. कस्टम्स इज द बिगेस्ट कॉन्ट्रीब्युटर टू मेकिंग ऑफ द फॉरेन ट्रेड पॉलिसी. नंतर ट्रेड स्टॅटिस्टिक्स, किती माल आलं, किती गेलं, काय झालं, किती ड्युटी आली, किती GST आली वगैरे, इज ट्रेड स्टॅटिस्टिक्स. आणि शेवटी परत लाईक नंबर 4, national security and border protection. So there are 8 functions. Everybody who registers for the program from tomorrow, we will send this presentation, and whoever has logged in today and given us their email ID, this presentation will be emailed to you tomorrow. Okay. So another important thing is की तुम्ही GCARD ची एक्झाम पास केली आणि तुम्ही ग्रॅज्युएट असणार, मग 2 वर्षानंतर तुम्ही FCARD ची परीक्षासाठी पण बसू शकणार. So one of the criterias of FCARD is that you have to be a GCARD holder of 2 years standing. So if you are a GCARD holder of 2 years standing, you can sit for the FCARD examination, but the additional condition is that you have to be a graduate over there. Then what is the syllabus for FCARD? FCARDचं syllabus काय? खूप मोठं syllabus आहे. It is a huge syllabus. आणि त्या सिलेबसचं पहिलं सेंटेन्स मध्ये ते लोक लिहितात मे इन्क्लूड, म्हणजे याला सोडून पण आम्ही तुम्हाला काही विचारू शकतो. वी कॅन आस्क यू एनिथिंग इवन आउटसाइड दिस सिलेबस. सो व्हेन यू लुक ॲट द एंटायर FCARD syllabus, you will see that it is a very huge syllabus which is given in the regulations only, and it includes the act, it includes the rules, it includes the regulations. If you see, it's a huge syllabus, very huge syllabus. Your syllabus is identical. It is the same syllabus for a GCARD holder. Only difference is कि FCARD मध्ये they have to study the whole thing in detail, whereas in GCARD you don't have to study it so much in detail. That you have to remember, but your syllabus remains the same. Or the only difference is that in GCARD local language is necessary. So if you are sitting for the examination in Pune, then it is expected that you will know Marathi and you will know Hindi, because Hindi is a language which is used across the country. So that is the only additional difference. In FCARD it is English, right? So please remember कि FCARD चा जे syllabus आहे आणि GCARD चा syllabus आहे, it is the same syllabus. FCARD मध्ये एकदम डिटेल मध्ये you have to study, and GCARD you don't have to study it so much in detail, but the syllabus remains the same. In addition to that, in GCARD they do ask you questions on English. They may ask you to write a letter for short shipment, they may ask you to write a letter for overtime, they may ask you to write a reply to a query from customs. They would expect you to know simple mathematics, because duty calculations, how they are done, and they can ask you a few questions on general knowledge. So this is in addition, whereas in the FCARD they don't really ask these questions, because this is part of their answers only, everything. So please remember that you have a very big syllabus, and in addition to the syllabus, they can ask you questions on English, mathematics, and general knowledge, right? So how do you prepare? आणि काय प्रेपरेशन करायची? द फर्स्ट इज कुठलीही तुम्ही बुक हातामध्ये घेतली, कस्टम्स ऍक्ट असो, कस्टम्स टॅरिफ ऍक्ट असो, फॉरेन ट्रेड पॉलिसी असो, काही असो, you must read the index. You must read the index a number of times, because when you will read the index a number of times, you will slowly start realizing ki, oh, bill of entry is under this section, assessment is under this section, prohibition is this section, short shipment is this section, valuation this section. That is how you will come to know by reading the index number of times. Even when they will ask you an MCQ question, they can ask you in two formats. One, they can ask you that section 28 covers so and so, or they can ask you that such and such an activity is covered under section, and they will give you 4 sections. But what they will do is, they will never give you 4 sections which are very close to each other. So they will not ask you 27, 28, 29, 30, but they will ask you 28, 41, 62, 92. So when you have read the index a number of times, it will become easier for you to remember, oh yes, this was in these sections only. So reading of the index is very important. Please keep a copy of the Customs Act with you, keep a copy of the Customs Tariff Act with you, and keep reading the index as many times as possible. Secondly, any book you will take, it has definitions. Definitions you must know, because who is a proper officer, what is import, what is export, what is assessment, you will come to know only from the definitions. Who is an exporter, who is an importer, who is an interested party, you will come to know only from the definition. So whichever book you take in your hand, you must read the definitions. Next is time limit. Okay, I have to file a bill of entry. When can I file a bill of entry? If I have got late, is there a time limit for filing the bill of entry, or there is no time limit for filing the bill of entry? So that is what you need to do over there. You need to understand time limits. Next, you need to understand who is the proper officer. म्हणजे हे सुपरिंटेंडेंट करणार, ACDC करणार, additional commissioner करणार, commissioner करणार, joint commissioner करणार. Who is the proper officer? That you must know for every activity. कि assessment असेल तर who is the proper officer for assessment? Adjudication असेल तर who is the proper officer for adjudication? And you can be sure कि they will ask you such questions. So very important in your preparations would be to study the index very carefully, to read the definitions, to understand the time limits, to understand who the proper officer, and keep on doing the same thing as many times as possible. Everyone in Pune, you have less than 1 month. Your exam, I believe, is on 2nd of June. So you have less than 30 days. So try and put in at least 2 hours every day. You will give us 1.5 hours on every alternate day. But in addition to whatever time you give us, please study for at least 2 hours every day. This is the Customs Act. त्याची 2022 ची कॉपी तुम्ही विकत घ्या. It is around 200 rupees. आणि the Customs Act मध्ये you will not only find the Customs Act, but you will also find the important regulations and rules, and the examination will include rules and regulations also. So a reading of this index will help you in a very good manner. The second book that you must keep with you and read is the customs tariff. You must read the index of the tariff की chapter 1 मध्ये काय आहे किंवा section 1 मध्ये काय येणार 2 मध्ये, because they will ask you questions on HSN classification. So you must know broadly that what is the structuring of the customs tariff act. It is not expected की तुम्हाला ते लोक विचारणार की तुम्ही classification कसं करणार. There are rules of classification, right? I don't expect that G card holders will be asked rules of classification, but G card holders will definitely be asked questions on classification. The next important book for you is duty drawback. So duty drawback मध्ये it is unlikely that they will ask you ki yacha drawback cha rate काय. That seems very unlikely, but they can ask you section 74 काय, 75 काय, 76 काय, what is re-import, re-import मध्ये किती ड्युटी परत मिळणार किंवा re-export मध्ये किती ड्रॉबॅक मिळणार, things like that. So please study the duty drawback also. If you have studied the customs tariff, then you know the index of the drawback because it is the same. Then comes the important sections. Customs Act has 271 sections. But when one looks at the work, what we are doing, there are around 106 sections which are important. Customs Act मध्ये 271 sections आहे, पण त्याच्यामधून 100-106 sections are the ones which are regularly asked. Okay, so we have listed the sections for you. You should know these sections. You should at least know कि section 11 काय आहे. Section 18, what is section 18? You should know that much. What is section 1? What is section 2? Right? So there are 106 sections which out of 271, which we feel out of our experience are important for you. So you must read them. Now, how do you remember these 106 sections? That is very interesting for you to understand. What are you doing? You are attending to custom clearance. You are attending to custom clearance of what? You are attending to custom clearance of through a bill of entry. You are attending to custom clearance through a shipping bill. आणि त्यावेळी तुमचं काहीतरी खोटं घडलं तर what is adjudication etc. तुम्हाला कधी चुकी झाली तर अमेंडमेंट करायचं तर कुठे जायचं, रूल्स कुठल्या सेक्शन मध्ये बनतात, रेग्युलेशन्स कुठल्या सेक्शन मध्ये बनतात. So that is how you are working today. So what you do is these 106, I will just tell you, I will jump a little bit and I will explain to you what has been done, and then we will come back over here for you. तुम्ही बिल ऑफ एंट्री जर फाईल केली तर बिल ऑफ एंट्री मध्ये कुठले सेक्शन्स अप्लाय होतात. You have never realized it, but there are so many sections which apply to a bill of entry. These are the primary sections. आणि त्याला related sections कुठले आहेत? These are the sections. So when you look at these 3 pages, you will realize that your entire bill of entry is covered. So it becomes easier for you to understand what action you are taking in the bill of entry vis-a-vis the sections. And the same listing we have done for the shipping bill. That when you file a shipping bill, what are the important sections? So once you go through this, you will understand the 106 sections which I mentioned to you. In addition to these sections, what you will notice it that there are sections from section 1 to section 16, 17 which are not related to bill of entry or shipping bill, but which are related to customs on the whole and custom clearance on the whole. And similarly, at the end of the whole thing, when you will see the sections from section 141 onwards, you will again realize that 141 onwards are not directly related to shipping bill or bill of entry, but they are related to customs and customs clearance as a whole. So study of the Customs Act is very important. I have tried to give you 106 important sections to read out of 271. Then comes the foreign trade policy. You must look at the foreign trade policy index very clearly and understand EPCG. EPCG is for raw material or capital goods. That can be a question to you. EPCG is for capital goods. Is EPCG for promotion of imports or promotion of exports? EPCG is for promotion of exports. Similarly, MEIS, SEIS, IEC Kon Denar, Vagere Vagere, that all comes in the foreign trade policy and the handbook. Please read the index at least 10 times. So for you to get a good idea about the foreign trade policy, and once you understand the index, go into the important activities which you are doing. आज पण तुम्ही लोक करतच असणार. So whatever items you are doing, please read them up. What are the other things you must learn outside of this? Is self-assessment and principles and premises-based audit. त्यांची लिमिट्स काय, प्रॉपर ऑफिसर काय, प्रोसेस काय, हायरार्की काय आहे, तुम्हाला नोटीस कोण देऊ शकते. एव्हरी कस्टम ऑफिसर इज नॉट अ प्रॉपर ऑफिसर. प्लीज अंडरस्टँड दॅट व्हेरी क्लिअरली, that every officer is not a proper officer. So unless the proper officer tells you, you should not take action on it. Then what are the different types of duties? Right? There are so many different types of duties. You should know, one, what are the different types of duties? What is the meaning of that duty? For what that duty is charged? And how to do the basic calculations. So this is a whole chart we have prepared to help you with the types of duties that are covered. Then EDI. We are all talking EDI all the time. मग EDI काय आहे? एकदा तरी www.customs.org वर जा. See the customs website. cbic.org. Sorry, not customs. cbic.org. Read what is EDI. Understand what is ICES. EDI आणि ICES चं अंतर काय, ICES आणि IceGate चं अंतर काय, what is possible in IceGate, what is not possible in IceGate. Then what is single window, SWIFT, what is single window, how does it happen, who is the proper officer, फाईल तुमची कुठे कशी मूव्ह होणार. Then integrated declaration, we are now giving a single declaration. Then PGS कुठल्या आहे, PGS चा ऑनलाइन क्लिअरन्सेस कसं होतात, PGS ची रिक्वायरमेंट काय आहे. So all of that is what you should know. Then there is something called the compliance information portal. So this is telling you about CCR, compulsory compliance requirement. When you are doing bill of entry or shipping bill, विचारतात ना रे या HSN मध्ये CCR काय, तू CCR comply केली की नाही. So that is what we talk about over here when we are talking about CCR. Then RMS. RMS काय आहे, RMS चं प्रॉपर ऑफिसर काय, RMS चे गव्हर्नमेंटचे रिक्वायरमेंट्स काय आहे, कुठले आहे, that is what you should know. Then warehousing. आणि हे हल्ली जे नवीन आलंय, मॅन्युफॅक्चर अँड अदर ऑपरेशन्स इन वेअरहाऊस रेग्युलेशन 2019. HSN मध्ये HSN काय, क्लासिफिकेशन कसं होणार, आणि तुमच्या क्लासिफिकेशनचे एवढे डिजिट्स असतात. इंडिया इज वर्किंग ऑन 8 डिजिट्स. सम कंट्रीज वर्क ऑन 10 डिजिट्स. पण त्या 8 डिजिट्सचं नंबरिंग कसं असते की पहिले 2 नंबर्स चॅप्टर आहे, दुसरे 2 नंबर हेडिंग आहे, तिसरे 2 नंबर सब हेडिंग आहे आणि चौथे 2 नंबर्स कंट्री स्पेसिफिक असते. म्हणजे कुठल्याही कंट्रीला जे लिहायचं असेल ते लिहू शकतात. सो दिस ऑल्सो टेल्स यू की वर्ल्ड ओव्हर पहिले 6 डिजिट्स आयडेंटिकल असणार. म्हणजे इंडियामध्ये जर कुठली आयटम तुम्ही उचलली 840620 तर वर्ल्ड ओव्हर ती आयटम 840620 असणार. बिकॉज दी HSN इज इंटरनॅशनल अँड युनिव्हर्सल. राईट. व्हॅल्युएशन चे 2 रूल्स आहेत, इम्पोर्ट आणि एक्सपोर्ट. ट्रान्झॅक्शन व्हॅल्यू काय, इम्पोर्ट व्हॅल्युएशनच्या रूल्सची सिक्वेन्स काय, एक्सपोर्ट व्हॅल्युएशनच्या रूल्सची सिक्वेन्स काय, रिलेटेड पार्टी कोण आहे. दिस इज ऑल पार्ट ऑफ व्हॅल्युएशन अँड इट इज ऑल पार्ट ऑफ युअर सिलेबस. एवढं ऐकून तुम्हाला आता कळणार की का 10%चेच लोक पास होतात. कारण एकतरी सिलेबस खूप मोठा आहे आणि तुम्ही जेव्हा बिल ऑफ एंट्री किंवा शिपिंग बिल असेसमेंट एक्झामिनेशन आणि डिलिव्हरीसाठी जातात तेव्हा यू डोंट रिअलाइज की यू आर डुईंग सो मच वर्क. आणि त्यावेळी तुम्हालाही माहित नाही की अरे कुठला रूल लागू पडते, की कुठला सेक्शन आहे, की कुठलं रेग्युलेशन्स आहे. So that is why this examination requires lot of studies, and that is why we say that this examination has a very large syllabus, right? म्हणजे दुसरं पद्धती शिकायची असं असणार की चल मी इम्पोर्ट प्रोसिजर घेतली तर इम्पोर्टची प्रोसिजर काय, प्रत्येक स्टेटचं सेक्शन कुठला आहे, प्रत्येक स्टेटचं रूल कुठला आहे, प्रत्येक स्टेटचं रेग्युलेशन कुठला आहे. So you can study it in that manner also. You have to study exemptions, remission, re-import, re-export, demands, refund, सगळं येणार. This is all part of your examination. Then penalties, appeals and revision. आणि तुमच्या कस्टम ऑफिसर्सचे पॉवर्स काय आहे. So this is how it all goes. Even if you take custom clearance on import cycle, there are 3 types of clearances: home consumption, warehousing and ex-bond. Similarly, non-current पण किती कामं आहेत तुमचे, की कुठले कामं येणार, DGFT, ऑडिट, सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ ओरिजिन, SVP, BRC, reassessment, हे सगळं you should know that what are the sections, what are the relevant rules, what are the relevant regulations, right? आणि रिझर्व्ह बँक कोण आहे आणि रिझर्व्ह बँकचं काय मेन हेतू आहे, रिझर्व्ह बँकचं मेन एम काय आहे, माल गेला पैसे यायला पाहिजे, पैसे गेलं माल यायला पाहिजे, बस एवढं सोपं आहे. बट दॅट यू मस्ट अंडरस्टँड की हाऊ द रिझर्व्ह बँक इज वर्किंग, ऑथराइज डीलर कोण आहे, ऑथराइज एडी कोड किती डिजिट्सचा असतो, अल्फा न्यूमेरिकल आहे, अल्फाबेटिकल आहे किंवा मात्र न्यूमेरिकल आहे, IC असेल तर किती डिजिट्स असणार, इज इट अल्फा न्यूमेरिकल, इज इट न्यूमेरिकल, पॅन नंबर असेल तर कोण देते आणि कसं इश्यू होते आणि किती डिजिट्स असणार. सो दिस इज व्हॉट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टँड. फॉरेन ट्रेड पॉलिसी, आय ऑलरेडी स्पोक टू यू अबाउट EOUs, SEZ, FTWZ, free trade agreements, preferential trade agreements, Carotter, Incoterms. Incoterms is what you should know की इंडिया मध्ये असेसेबल व्हॅल्यू काय, इम्पोर्ट साठी CIF आणि एक्सपोर्ट साठी FOB. पण जेव्हा एक्सपोर्टर्स आणि इम्पोर्टर्स कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट करतात तेव्हा ते लोक असेसेबल व्हॅल्यू बघत नाही, त्यावेळी ते लोक इन्कोटर्म्स बघतात, किती इन्कोटर्म्स आहे आणि त्या इन्कोटर्म्सला आपण असेसेबल व्हॅल्यू मध्ये कसं कन्वर्ट करायचं. देर आर 11 इन्कोटर्म्स, CIF, FOB. आपण तरी मात्र CIF, FOBच ऐकलंय, but there are actually 11 Incoterms. आणि त्या 11 Incotermsला बिल ऑफ एंट्री साठी CIF मध्ये कसं कन्वर्ट करायचं आणि त्यांना एक्सपोर्ट साठी FOB मध्ये कसं कन्वर्ट करायचं is part of your job, is part of the custom broker's job. So this also becomes an important portion of your preparations, right? Then these are already covered for you. Now comes for your classes from tomorrow. Your classes will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:45 to 11:15 and on Saturdays from 9:45 to 11:45. Totally आम्ही 20 तासचे क्लासेस आहे. आम्ही कोशिश करणार की तुमचा कंप्लीट सिलेबस आम्ही कव्हर करू. But please take it very seriously. Please don't take it lightly. And please ask as many questions as you want. आणि फॅकल्टी पण मराठी बोलते, हिंदी बोलणार. तुमची जी लीड फॅकल्टी आहे ते मिस्टर वीरेन दयाल आहे. He will conduct the classes from Mumbai. All your classes will be conducted on Zoom. There is a single link which has been sent to you, which is effective tomorrow. Even those of you who are not from Pune, I am sure Pune Association will not mind your joining in and attending the classes. Because Pune Association is also doing this for the benefit of the community. So they are not stuck that only Pune people can attend the classes, but this is being done primarily for Pune. So you can also join in. Then one WhatsApp group has been created. Most of you are already, whoever has registered from Pune is already on the WhatsApp group. If anybody else joins in from tomorrow, we will add them to the WhatsApp group. We will put lot of videos on the WhatsApp group for you to watch over and above your studies, right? In addition, जेवढे पण PowerPoint presentations आहे, they will all be put up on the WhatsApp group for you. So when the classes are being conducted, please pay attention more to what the faculty has to say, because the presentations will be made available to you subsequently, right? So if anybody wants to ask a question, you can raise your hand. There is a reaction box over there. You can raise your hand. I will open it up for you to ask a question if you want to ask. And if you want to ask the question by typing it, then please type it in the Q&A. So I am opening it up for all of you. कोणालाही काही प्रश्न विचारायचा असेल तर please raise your hand. See at the bottom of your screen there is a reaction. Yeah, Biju, 1 minute, I'll open it up for you. Bijuचा प्रश्न आहे की is it an open book exam? No, it is not an open book exam. It will not be an open book exam, right? So Biju, do you still want to ask your question or have I answered your question? दुसरा कोणाला काही प्रश्न विचारायचा आहे? कोणालाही प्रश्न विचारायचा असेल तर त्या रिॲक्शन मध्ये प्लीज रेज युअर हँड. I can see it, I will open it up, or you ask the question in the Q&A box, not in the chat box.
Yeah, good evening, sir. And first of all, on behalf of Pune Custom House Agents Association, I would like to thank you for giving an insight of the most important aspect of the examination for the candidate, which is going to be conducted by Pune Customs. And regarding this examination, I would like to have one question, whether we are going to have any kind of mock test or mock examination wherein the student can have an actual feeling of giving an examination.
See, Pune is conducting an examination after many years, 3-4 years. and we don't know because most of the custom houses have changed the patterns. But we have a whole question bank of about 500 questions, which we will give to your participants for practicing.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
That will help the candidates to prepare for the examination.
Yeah, that we will do for all the people who register through the Pune Association. We will give it to them.
And many candidates are on job, so and they are on field for many years. So this is a written examination, as you rightly said, as per CBLR 2018. So many people are facing a problem that they are having hesitant that whether I will be in a position to write so many too much in the exam or not.
तर त्याच्यासाठी मात्र एकच करायचं, उद्यापासून एक फुलस्कॅप पेज हररोज तुम्ही लिहायला पाहिजे, प्रॅक्टिस करायची. कारण लिहायची प्रॅक्टिस गेली तुमची गेले 5, 10, 15, 20 वर्ष, म्हणजे आता तुम्हाला लिहायला त्रास होणारच आहे की यू नो दी आन्सर बट यू कॅनॉट राईट दी आन्सर बिकॉज युअर हँड विल पेन, यू कॅनॉट राईट. सो बिकॉज पुणे इज अ रिटन पेपर and not a computer MCQ paper like other places, please ensure that you start practicing writing every day, right? To all the participants.
Okay.
Any other participant would like to say anything? Ask any questions? I find that Pune President Pradeep Kale is here. Pradeep sir, I have opened you. You can unmute yourself and say something if you would like to. You can put on your camera also.
Thank you, Samir bhai. It was really informative and very guiding. Your this thing lecture to everyone, all the candidates, and definitely it will help all the candidates from Pune as well as from the other locations. I'm sure under your leadership, we will definitely have a great success in this exam. And whatever questions from the students, if they have in between the training session, definitely we will, from association side, we will forward it to you.
Yeah, meaning there is a WhatsApp group. You know, the best thing is
I'm aware, yeah, but
WhatsApp group for participants. तुम्ही त्या WhatsApp group वरच लिहा. Ask as many questions as you want, because then what will happen is it will benefit everybody.
okay, then here I request to all the candidates that as Mr. Samir sir rightly said, you put it whether don't shy on putting any questions on WhatsApp group, please.
हे बघा, पार्टिसिपंट्सला मला एवढंच सांगायचंय की ऑल ऑफ यू आर सिटिंग स्टडिंग फॉर एन एक्झाम. ठीक आहे, म्हणजे अजिबात ते तसं तुम्हाला वाटायला नको की अरे मी विचारलं तर लोक हसतील, की कोणाला वाटेल की याला काही येत नाही. तुम्हाला येत नाही म्हणून तर तुम्ही कोर्स करतात ना.
एक्झॅक्टली. कारण बऱ्याचदा स्टुडंट जे आहेत ते कदाचित तेवढे घाबरतील किंवा शाय असतील. सो माय रिक्वेस्ट इज एव्हरीवन, प्लीज पुट युअर क्वेश्चन्स ऑन व्हॉट्सअप.
Bhagwan sir, if there is no question, can we close the session?
Yes, sir, we can do that.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you to Pune Association, Pradeep sir, Somnath sir, and Bhagwan ji for this opportunity. All the very best to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.